It wasn't even like we taught it that much in the beginning. It was just that was presented. Having said that, I'm going to tell you how we did it.
There's the excuse part can definitely be a thing, but I'm giving both doing the both sides thing again, right? Like there's excuses, but then there are some things that you need to be sensitive to, obviously. So for you then, back to your question, as dad, kind of lay out kind of what your framework was with balancing all these things as a parent.
Yeah. So first of all, very, very fortunate myself that um, before I met Christine, I cooked most of my meals, and I'm a health nut. I was a health nut. I met Christine, and she grew up in a family um, of a lineage of farmers. So home cooking has always been something that they've always done, and she's very good at it and somewhat enjoys it. So it's actually a way that we can spend time together, and then we look at it like we want to feed the kids properly and ourselves. I mean, I don't want to walk around looking like shit, right? I want to look like
Melted candle.
yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be built like a melted wax candle. Um, and outside of the performance and stuff, because I work out and I had to stay in shape and stuff like that for my job and for hockey, and that's part of my life. It just made more sense to me, and I feel better. And then I wanted my kids to do the same thing, but it wasn't even like we taught it that much in the beginning. It was just that was presented. Having said that, I'm going to tell you how we did it. Okay, and again for people listening, um, I'm not perfect at all. Um, and I'm not preaching. It's just what I did with my family. True story here. Okay. All right. So first thing I did, I put down here is as we cooked most of our meals at home. So the first heading I would say, if we were to call it that, is cook meals at home and using whole foods, not processed foods, most of the time. Yes, have we had chicken nuggets because here you go, kids, it's quick, put it in the oven. Yes, we have done that, but not very often. We've cooked meals at home with healthy foods, and healthy doesn't mean like like it's a perfect meal. I'm just talking about if we had meat, it was actually meat. If it was chicken, it was chicken. It wasn't chicken nuggets. It wasn't chicken burgers and like the stuff that has all the salt
Yeah,
and
we'll
all the
talk more about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's most of the time. So I would say in our family that would be 90% more, probably more. So we knew. So when the kids had something to eat, even if it was like, I don't consider this healthy, but it can be, like spaghetti, right? So you got that. Like the pasta is not the most healthiest thing, but it's okay. We had that once in a while, but it was like, we make sauce from scratch, and a lot of people would think that um, making a sauce from scratch is hard. It's like it takes zero time. Like all this stuff takes no time. So that would be my first thing. So what am I talking about for foods? It's like meat, veggies, fruit, eggs, lots of water. That's the crux of our eating for the most part. Fruits, vegetables, meat, and eggs. Too many meals are eaten outside. So like, and it would be very, very easy, especially with three kids running around, right? Be very, very easy to just go to McDonald's on the road or wherever people go all the time. And when we're on the road, we do. But we're a little bit more choosy most of the time, and we don't have to have three meals out and all that kind of stuff. So, but the problem with eating out all the time or eating processed food is you might not know what it is. I remember going out and like a couple times going to this place, is really good salad. After I had this salad, I'd be like, I am so full. Like I felt like shit. It's a salad with like, I mean, a little bit of chicken on it and stuff. Then you think it's like, oh, what oil are they using? Are they using the proper oil? And you know the answer, the cheap one, right? Um, and then food that are everything that's wrapped. Like if it comes in a wrapping, it's like it's not real food; it's processed. So you try to stay away with that as much as you can. And when you go to a restaurant, even though you might think it's a healthy meal, you just don't know what they put on it. So that's a big thing to me. So eat at home, cook meals at home as best as you can, and use real food. Okay. The second thing I would say, if there's a heading, is have conversations about food because you're raising your kids, and it's no different than when you're teaching fitness, when you're teaching hockey drill or anything like that. If you just say eat this and shut up, which that's old school, Of course, you're getting resistance. Why? Why? I don't like it. That's what you get most of the time. So we have conversations. It's like, why are we eating this? And we listen, when we have these conversations, we don't sit at the table. It's not like a prayer
Yeah.
where we go through all the reasons why we're eating and
Yeah.
what we're eating, but
Yeah.
it's like, why are you eating this? I just put a couple things on what are we eating? Why do we eat it? What function does it provide? Meaning, if you're eating, like, what is that? What's the chicken? What are the food groups? It's protein, is it right? It's a protein. If if you're eating the veggies, like, what is that? What's a carb? And understand what their role is. So a conversation just simply means, why do you want to have lots of protein, Eric? I don't know, Dad. It's like, okay, so that's the first lesson, right? Protein is what keeps you muscle. It gives you muscle. So if you want to have muscles, got to eat your protein. That might be a reason why the kid wants to eat protein, right? And if you explain carbohydrates, like, you'll have more energy. It gives you the fuel for your game. It's like, oh, okay, now might need to eat this, and veggies because of the fiber and the energy and the vitamins, blah 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 blah. So having conversations is a big thing, and then talk about water. So as soon as your water levels go down, or you dehydrate a little bit, your brain function goes. Everything just doesn't work properly. So that's really important to talk about those things, right? So understand having conversations about food. I think the third part is parents be the example.
That's a
So
tough one. Yeah.
for sure, well, yeah, but I've always said this. I can, as a dad, you could say to your kid, work hard, do this, do that. You're not working hard enough. You're not pushing it. But if he sees that I work a 9 to 5 job and come home and do nothing and sit on the couch and have no motivation to do anything else, he's looking at, that's my example right there, sitting on the couch, right? So it's hard for someone that doesn't have motivation, or they're not driven in doing something, making themselves better in some way, for someone to listen to them because you're the example. So I think the kids will be more likely most of the time to engage or try things or accept that this is how we eat because mom and dad do, right? So if you put it in perspective, if dad is not a motivated person, and I'm just using this, I know some people get all bent out of shape, but if you're not just in general life not overly motivated, and then you come home and you don't pay attention whatsoever to you're putting any sauce and any shit on your whatever you're eating, and you look like, I don't know what you look like, but you're eating just to eat, and there's nothing there. Like, how could the kid learn, right? Whereas if you tuck in your shirt once in a while, or comb your hair, you look like you put yourself together a little bit, and you do things, and then when you eat, it's like, oh, we need, you're making decent choices. There's a good chance. And if you're eating the vegetable, your kid might be able to eat the vegetable, right? You don't have to be pushy. Suggest it, try it, throw it out there, and there's a good chance that they taste it, they might like it.
No, you actually can't be pushy. If you're
No,
pushy, you'll
no,
lose,
it's not
right?
going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the fourth thing is the all or nothing attitude won't work, right? So when you're choosing to do this, just like someone that's heavily into fitness and nutrition, you have to be prepared to fail. So if you say we're going to eat healthy as a family, that doesn't mean like everything all the time, because you have to have a wiggle room. You will fail, promise you that. Especially when you have stress, or you have, things get busy. You are going to fail, but that's not the end of the world. Don't be too rigid. It's okay. Make sure that you have a night or a weekend where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have your pizza. We're gonna have our chicken nuggets, whatever. We're gonna go out and eat whatever you want. Whatever that looks like, and then you can still enjoy life. Not like you can't enjoy life without good food, but I think the most important thing is to start and just do your best.
Yeah, especially
You know?
during that transition
Yeah.
time, right? You have to have some tolerance, definitely. Um, that's good. I think like the two things I think that I'm pulling out of those points that you made. The first is more or less it comes down to the environment, as we always say. In anything, it's your environment's gonna win. What do you have around? And when it comes to food, it's no different, right? What's around? What are they snacking on? What kind of things are prepared? What kind of things are ready? What kind of things can they have quick? What kind of things do you eat? Whatever's available, that is what they're going to start defaulting to. So if you start thinking of it that way, that's one. And the other thing you were talking about is just kind of like adopting that openness to learning about it, openness to being wrong, because it can be a real source of insecurity, like food stuff, you know.
Say that
It,
again. I just missed it. I
it can
was
be
thinking of another thing too.
it can be a really big source of insecurity, like food things. You know, people can be insecure about how they eat, like when they eat, the things they eat, how they look when they eat. If they're not happy with how their body is, they can be self-conscious about how they eat. So it can be a real touchy subject for a lot of people. And adopting that, a willingness to learn, just like anything else. Like if you have too much pride, or you're not approaching it with any humility, it can be really difficult, right? Especially because of this particular topic, it can be hard, you know. And adopting that willingness to learn about it, even as parents, like you might be 55 years old, and like you need to have the humility to be like, I literally don't know anything about food, and maybe I should start learning something about it, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's how you can
Absolutely.
start to translate that message to your kids, right? Start trying to clean it up.